What's going on YouTube? It's Giga here, bringing you some more Series 12 Wi-Fi battles with live commentary. We are continuing to use Kanto Clark's Giratina team from yesterday. One thing he did mention is that I haven't really been leaning into the lead of Grimmsnarl with Giratina, so hopefully that's something that we can try out today to some relatively good success. So looking at my opponent's first team, it is Calyrex Ice and Zacian. It is Calyrex Ice with Regieleki, Ditto, a Zacian, a Urshifu, and Thundurus. So I think actually Grimmsnarl with Giratina is really good here. Zacian is just a given. And then the question is, do I want Urshifu or Entei more? I like Urshifu because it's Sash, so that can really help, and it does have priority against Calyrex Ice. But Entei, I think is just overall a better option. We are giving up speed control, but I mean, this team doesn't look like it's Trick Room focused, right? It just really has that Calyrex, so it is very possible that we are going to just actually see, what's it called? We are going to see a weak Choice Scarf Calyrex. That's what I'm trying to say. So leads, we are going to see Regieleki Calyrex Ice. So a lot of interesting potential here. I like the idea of setting up Reflect to try and have them trigger my weakness policy with a Glacial Lance, and then letting us KO back with with a Max Phantasm. So I'm gonna actually do that. I'm gonna set up the Reflect here, and then fire off a Max Phantasm onto this Calyrex. I'm not super worried about Regieleki, right? It doesn't have really good damage at all into my Giratina, so, right? Because, yeah, if you're carrying Hyper Beam, that's not going to do anything, and then neither are any of your Ghost-type attacks. So really just immediately putting on pressure with Giratina. As we're going to see the max come out from us, I don't know necessarily if they're going to max. If they don't, I mean, if you Trick Room, that's fine, right? We have the ability to self Scary Face onto Giratina, and then we should definitely, not definitely, but we should outspeed or underspeed Calyrex. We are going to see the max here, so that's actually perfect. That is not perfect, because you are faster, or you're slower than me. So I'm actually going to trigger your weakness policy, unless, hear me out, Regieleki goes for an Electro Web. Reflect gonna come up, that's good. Should help us soak up some attacks. We are gonna see, like I said, yep, an Electro Web come out. It is gonna miss Giratina, which is fine with me, as Calyrex is going to go for, yeah, this is tricky, right? We're gonna hit you first. We're not gonna actually do that much as a result of Giratina just actually not being that strong. But you're not, what's nice is you're not going for, oh, you're not, okay. That's fine. We're going to see a Hailstorm come out onto Grimmy. Grimmy does live, so that's actually really huge, right? Because now we do have the ability to Sucker Punch into Giratina, which I'm hoping at +2, we should be able to KO the Calyrex, right? I don't actually think so. I'm going to Sucker Punch the Giratina, and I'm going to Wyrmwind the Aleki. My thought process with this is we have Zacian in the back, so Zacian makes it so we are not afraid of their Calyrex, right? We should be, because we saw that they're not weakness policy. We'll get them to -1, which is really huge for us. You might, yeah, this will be a little bit tricky. I'm glad we didn't bring our Shifu because of breaking sashes. As Wyrmwind Perfect is going to come out first, which is awesome, right? We're going to just be able to immediately get rid of this Giratina. I mean, not Giratina, Regieleki, which is a threat for Zacian. We are going to also be able to drop the attack on Calyrex. So, yeah, that's really beneficial. So, Reflect and -1, that's doing absolutely nothing to Giratina. So, we can, what do we want? We can bring out Zacian now. I think that that's probably going to be our best bet, and then we are going to see a Zacian from their end. So overall, I think this is a pretty good position to be in, and we have a reflect. So what we can do is, I want to make sure we do this right. We could just straight up, actually, okay, we could protect here and go for Wormwind onto their Calyrex, just with the idea of trying to drop their attack even further to make sure that we are going to be able to fight back, as we're going to get the protect off first. Let's see if they go for one as well. It looks like no, so it looks like they're going just straight for a Behemoth Blade onto Giratina, which I think is fine, right? Zacian dealing a little bit more damage than I would have liked there, especially through a Reflect, but we are going to be able to fire off a big max Wormwind to get a attack drop, which is super helpful, right? We're going to get that Calyrex down really low. We have just, I feel really good about the position. So now Hailstorm going to come out into Zacian doing solid 5 damage. You know, we love to see that. We can now, I think at this point we can go for pressure onto their Zacian. We might, I think even if we lose Giratina, it's not the end of the world. I definitely want to attack into their Zacian though, to try and get a knockout with our Zacian. So we can go for a Behemoth Blade here, as well as a Shadow Ball here. So yeah, I mean we could have Phantasmed, but I was just afraid of Aleki lowering the speed of my Zacian and putting their Zacian in an advantageous position. So overall, I think this is a much better spot to be in, right? We have Zacian at neutral, we have a Reflect up, Calyrex is at -2, so we should be able to tank a lot of damage and dish it back out. I can't really, I mean, what, you could, no, I was gonna say, you could protect and you could Trick Room. We're gonna see a straight Blade come out, that's fine. This should be into Giratina, right? Yep, Giratina is going to, unfortunately, oh, that is a big deal. That live is huge. We are really taking advantage of the bulk right now. We're going to get massive damage off into your Zacian. That's perfect. We can now KO this Calyrex, right? I can't see it living. Just, yep, real good damage there. So now we get to see what my opponent's last is, and we do still have Entei in the back, so that's really great for us, right? You are going to be taking that Hail Chip, which is nice. So, oh, Giratina fainted. So we have Entei. Entei, do I think Zacian is in extreme speed range? We are Adamant Entei with a Life Orb. Oh. Oh. Let's go for a Protect here, and let's Extreme Speed here. We do have a Reflect, so that is helpful. That's scary. That's actually really scary. No, it's fine. We have a Reflect. We're gonna protect first, which means they're not protecting, so we should be able to KO this Zacian, right? Perfect. We get the knockout there. We should, let's see what they go for. It should be a Blade. We're gonna see a Blade come out into Entei. Entei should hopefully take it. Yeah, Entei's gonna take it well. That means we can go for a Sacred Fire and a Behemoth Blade onto them and hope. We have a lot of, yeah, we're gonna Behemoth Blade here, as well as go for a Sacred Fire, right? You might switch up and target down my Zacian, right? If you target, okay, perfect. You're gonna target down Zacian. Okay, perfect. We live as a result of the Reflect. We're gonna be able to fire off a correct animation Behemoth Blade, RIP Ditto, and this should be a knockout, right? Yeah, perfect. And then worst case, we had Entei going for a Sacred Fire as well as Extreme Speed. So overall, a really solid first game. I think using the bulk aspect is is really cool and let us tank some absolute big hits. I do want to see if we can see our opponent's team. Can we? No, we can't. I was curious on the item of the Calyrex, but it is what it is. Let's just keep rocking and rolling and move to the next one. All right, battle number 2, and it is almost Rinja-san with the exception of Tapu Fini over Gastrodon, which is always nice to see. So last time we led Giratina Tornadus into this. Let's mix it up. Let's do Giratina Grim. Let's leave Torn in the back with Zacian. Do I want Torn or do I want Entei? Entei is tempting because of the fact that it gets a boost, but we really want Torn to set up the speed. So I'm gonna actually stick with what I did last time of Torn. I'm gonna bring Entei and Zacian in the back, just because of the fact that if we are able to set up if we set up a Tailwind, I think we're just in really good shape. So being able to, I think, put on a lot of immediate pressure is going to be really big here. But we did have good success yesterday. I'm hoping to keep that up today. Just kind of similar strategy. I think flow charting is important, but like obviously when there's a change. So we are going to see Tapu Fini. So Tapu Fini is interesting. It's going to be Tapu Fini Groudon. So what I want to do is I want to Tailwind. I want to Tailwind and I want to just Brutal Swing. I want to max Wormwind into the Groudon and set up a Tailwind. Right? I think then if we can Brutal Swing the subsequent turn, we'll be in good shape. So we just need Giratina to survive. There is also a chance that Fini triggers our weakness policy, which would be really nice. We do have Wild Charge for it with Zacian, so I'm not super worried about the Fini. We obviously don't want it setting up. We are going to see no Max, which is interesting, but I'm not complaining. We're going to be able to fire off a Wormwind onto this Groudon to hopefully just... Jesus Christ. Just kidding. We're going to do 0 damage as a result of that Assault Vest. So this is a really bulky good boy. We're going to see the Rock Tomb come out onto Torn. Oh, Icy Wind will trigger my weakness policy. That's great. That's super effective. So we are going to get our weakness policy triggered, which is great. We are at +1. Torn is at basically neutral at this point. So what I can do now is Phantasm the Groudon and taunt the Fini, just trying to stop any sort of Calm Mind setup, which is what I'm afraid of. We do have to worry about a couple other things. We are going to just get that taunt off, which is really good to see. Probably, okay, Phantasm going to come out. This is +2 into the Groudon. Going to, I like that. I like that damage. We are very appreciative of that. So, let's see. Rock Tomb going to come out. This should KO Torn. Bye-bye Torn. That's fine. Another Icy Wind potentially. Okay, can't use Heal Pulse, which is great. We now can bring out Zacian. So Zacian can easily pick up a knockout onto the Fini, and then we can pick up a knockout onto Groudon. So I'm going to Quake the Groudon. Yeah, I'm going to Quake it just because of the fact that we can get a special defense boost for the subsequent round, and then we do have Wild Charge onto the Fini. So that should really help with a potential Charizard, right? Like the Charizard switch feels obvious. We are luckily going to be faster. We do have Entei in the back, but we don't have Tailwind, which is scary, as Wild Charge going to come out. Hopefully knocks out the Fini. Yeah, no question about that, which is really great for us. Then we can subsequently get off this. That's a lot of recoil. We can, get off a Quake onto the Groudon, so that's going to give us a nice boost. So yes, our max, they still have their max, which is scary, but we have a Tailwind, so that is advantageous for us. We should see... This is actually really scary, now that I think about it. Right, if you have Zacian and Charizard in the back, that's Charizard? Yeah, We double up Charizard? We double up Charizard with the hope that Entei wins the 1v1 versus Zacian because of the Sun. So we are going to see the max. Giratina is at neutral, unfortunately. We just need to see a not max guard. Right, we should... Yeah, I mean, I can't see you doubling up Giratina. You could. We're not max speed Entei. You know, I could have doubled up the Zacian. That would have been really great. They think that I am max speed Entei, which I'm not. Perfect play rough miss. We'll take that. We're gonna see an airstream. Yeah, trying to avoid. Entei, please live. That was not supposed to happen, but you have a speed boost. We should be able to KO the Zacian now with Earth Power, right? Earth Power gonna come out onto you. You go away. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, we lose at this point. Oh, there was Misty Terrain. That's why my dragon attacks weren't doing anything. Yeah. That was... I think they played really well by protecting Charizard and then being able to pick up the knockout. I think yeah, it was a good read on their part. It is what it is. I think we were in an advantageous position, and then we could have done more for it, especially going for that Wormwind with the Misty Terrain up. So we know now, and nothing to say, but let's just keep rocking and rolling and play one more. All right, last battle of the day, and it is a Kyogre Zacian team. So it is Whimsicott with Zacian, Incineroar, Kyogre, a Thundurus, and a Seismitoad. So Zacian Grim Giratina and Grim feels very solid here, especially if we can set up accordingly. Having access to Overgrowth is going to be really great for Seismitoad, so that's really nice. I think Zacian, especially with Sacred Sword, Wild Charge is going to be important, and then the question of what do we want in the back? Urshifu is nice, right? That Wicked Blow with the Sash is really great. We are giving up speed control, which can be a little bit scary. Torn is tempting. Let's bring Torn to try and match speed. So the thing we have to be afraid of is an Instant Zacian lead. Instant Zacian is scary because of the fact that you can fake out my Grim and go for a KO onto it, whereas I don't really have a solid counterplay to that. We could switch, but like nothing wants to take that. We are going let's see how this works out. We are going to see a lead of Kyogre Whimsicott. I can deal with that. Versus Giratina and Grimmy. So what we can do actually is we could Light Screen and Quake. I'm gonna do this just because I want to trigger my weakness policy before attacking into their Kyogre. So that's helpful. We're gonna see either no max or a very slow Ogre. It could also be Trick Whimsicott and I would cry, right? You could be Trick and then Scarf and then I would cry, but please don't Trick. Okay, Tailwind I can live with. We're gonna get a Light Screen off. This should let us take a hit from this Kyogre, and then we can go from there, as they are going to just straight Water Spout. So Water Spout into both of us. Let's Grim live, which is great. Quake gonna come out, should do some decent chip onto the Ogre. Decent chip. Not the best chip, but I mean it is what it is. We can now go for a Sucker Punch and a Overgrowth. So we can Overgrowth this slot. We can Sucker Punch here. So what's tricky is we might lose Grimmsnarl. We probably are going to lose Grimmsnarl this turn. But in my mind, Grimmsnarl, even if we do, like, it's really done its job, right? It has taken care of a big threat. It has, it's set up a weakness policy. It's set up a Light Screen, which basically neuters what this Kyogre can do. So trying to get that, I think it makes sense that it's like, not makes sense, but it's like an okay trade in my mind. So let's kind of see what my opponent chooses to go for. I think there are definitely a lot of options. I think because of the Quake, you're afraid of switching, but we are going to see a switch from Whimsicott. Whimsicott is fine with me. This is going to be into Seismitoad. So Seismitoad really not going to like seeing, that was a crit. Oh, that did way too much. That, that's annoying, but we're going to take a Water Spout. We're going to see a crit, unfortunately, but that's fine. Overgrowth going to come out. Interesting. Rindoberry on the Kyogre is not something I would have expected. So we should still hopefully, okay, we do get the KO, which is great. That crit is actually really unfortunate because we could have set up a Reflect, whereas now we are really vulnerable. Right? We are. That's so tricky. I'm gonna bring out Torn here. This is tricky. Okay, we're gonna see a Zacian come out. Yeah. Oh, I really, really wish that crit was huge, because then Grimmsnarl could have set up a Reflect. I have to set up Tailwind now for my Zacian in the end game. I cannot see Giratina living a double up unless it's special Seismitoad. Oh god, I needed that Reflect. That's tricky. It is fine. It's fine. Crits are part of the game. Let's see how this plays out. We are going to see, well, we're going to get a Tailwind off, which is always nice. They could, yeah, I cannot see a double up working out or surviving. Airstream into Giratina. Maybe. That looks special. That looks special. If we can survive the blade, which hopefully we can't. Like, Giratina's fairly bulky. We're going to see a play rough. We can't survive that. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, that's game. You're at +1 speed. We just can't do anything at this point. So, yeah, what are we going to do? We have to double protect, stall out their Tailwind. They're at +1, so Seismitoad is still faster. Right? Like, what? Yeah, it's not... Yeah, it's not worth it. Definitely an unfortunate way to end, for sure. But I think it's a really cool team. We just got unfortunate with that crit. Yeah, definitely check out Kanto, though. He makes some incredible teams. We will be changing it up in the next episode, so yeah, let's look in shame. Endeavor is cool. Zacian, interesting. Ensign, yeah, standard. Ogre. Rindo Berry, I think, is very interesting. Assault Vest, which is cool, and then finally Seismitoad. You're adamant, so yeah, definitely unfortunate, but it is what it is. Like I said, we will be using a different team in the next episode, and yeah, with that, until next time, I hope all of you are wonderful, and I'll see you then.